Loving Superfoods, and I'm going to demonstrate how very easy it is to make the best brownies ever. Oh my gosh, these are so good. They're quick, they're easy, they're superfood packed, and they were actually named Best Brownies Ever by our favorite supplier of sunflower superfoods, David Favor. I took them to him once, and he's like, oh my gosh, these are the best brownies ever. And the name is stuck because we keep saying, oh my gosh, these are the best brownies ever. So the recipe is on our website, lovingsuperfoods.com/blog. Do a search for brownies, and you'll see these. You might see a chocolatey chocolate brownie come up, and Melissa's Happy Energy Bars. This is the combo of the two melded together to make the best brownies ever. Have I said that they're the best brownies ever? I think they're the best brownies ever. So what I've got here is 3 cups of Brazil nuts in my food processor. And Brazil nuts are really awesome because they are wild. They cannot be grown domestically. Domestically. They cannot be grown domestically. And they and macadamia nuts are the only nuts that do not have anti-nutrients or enzyme inhibitors, so you don't need to soak them in order to activate them before you eat them. So you can eat them straight out of the bag or put them straight into the food processor. So they're going to be the base, the flour base of our brownies. And I'll food process those, and then we'll get to the dates. So first, we're going to process the Brazil nuts, and we're going to process them until they're kind of like a fine powder. I'll show it to you in a sec. Perfect. All right. So I'll bring this over so you can see. But basically, what you want are these little like crumbles. If it gets too fine, you'd see kind of a creaminess along the bottom here where it's starting to turn to butter. So that kind of means you've gone too far. Turn it back a notch, or just live with some of it being a little buttery. This might still be a little bit kind of thick texture. I might give it one more little pulse to get it a little bit more fine. I can see like there's some kind of bigger chunks like that, so I'm going to give it one more pulse, but we're really, really close to that fine powdery texture. So we'll give it one more shot here. Get my blade resituated. And I'm also actually, I'm going to put in the 1 teaspoon of salt so it gets mixed in really well with this right now. And this is the sunflower salt, the oh so good, great tasting, good for you, super mineralizing salt that comes from David Favor. And it's a blend of 4 different salts: the pink Himalayan sea salt, Chinese sea salt, Bolivian rose salt, and Alea clay salt. Good stuff. So we'll give this another quick pulse. That looks pretty good. It's just barely starting to stick together, not too much, so that's just right. Just the perfect timing to stop before we add in our dates. So for dates, I learned the hard way that I need to sometimes spell out for you that you need to pit your dates. I get medjool dates from the grocery store, and you can see it's a whole date, and it has a little knobby thing on the end. I'll do this so you can see. I've already cut some of them. And you just want to kind of cut it a little bit in half, maybe along the edge because there's a pit in the middle, and you peel it open. You take off that little end if there was an end, plant stem end, and there's the pit, and pull the pit out. Apparently someone learned the hard way. She almost ruined her food processor. She just threw the dates in, not realizing that they have pits. So learn from her potential disaster. Don't create a disaster of your own, and pit your dates. If I ever say use dates, please pit them first. Pretty rare. Anyway, so there's about 3 cups of dates. It's not a hard, fast measurement. It was that was basically 1 16-ounce container of dates. And they're all halved, and now I can add them straight into my Brazil nut mix. And dates are kind of funky in a food processor. They're hard and chunky, and they get flopped around a bit. So I'm actually going to do just a little bit at a time so that they blend easily and I don't get too many date chunks mixed in with this. So here's our first round. We probably did about 1/3 of the dates this first time around. And if you want, you could at this point use the little kind of insert valve, what do you call this thing in a food processor? Spot where you can keep it running and still add things in. So you can use that if you want, or you can just add some more on top. I'm going to use it so you can see how it works. And as you can see, my brownie batter is starting to get a little browner with the dates that are mixed in. I got a little bit of a wall and a well in the middle. That is okay right now for the dates. I'm going to keep going, but eventually I might come in here and mix it up a little bit just to make sure everything's distributed very evenly. So let me get the rest of the dates in and then I'll do that. Alright, all the dates are in and it's not very evenly mixed. I've got some Brazil nuts that don't have any dates mixed in, some that are mixed in well, so I'm just going to turn that around a little bit and give the food processor several more goes so it's well mixed. And you'll see, it'll start to look like dough. Oh yeah. Smells good too. Brazil nuts are really neat using them as a base for this. They have a natural slight sweetness to them. It's really delicious. Like when you make this, make sure you taste a little bit of that Brazil nut powder before you add the dates in. It's amazing. Okay, so now I've got my dough consistency put together. I'm going to put all the powdered ingredients in a bowl and mix them together before I add this in. So I'm going to start with cacao powder. Love this raw Balinese cacao powder. I know a lot of you are big fans of David Faber's Sunflower Superfoods Mayan Gold cacao powder. It's really high quality. And I got to tell you that this has totally passed the test for me as well. So I like both. In a pinch, I can use either one. And heck, outside of a pinch, I can use either one. So I'm going to put in a 1/4 cup of cacao powder. It's interesting, isn't it? Only a 1/4 cup is all that's needed for this brownie recipe. You think brownies, lots of chocolate, doesn't take much. And I'm also going to put in a 1/4 cup of carob powder. And actually, I'm going to put a full cup. What am I thinking? It's a cup of carob powder, not a 1/4 cup. So it's a 1/4 cup of cacao and a cup of carob. Which, if you're at all sensitive to caffeines or xanthines like cacao, and it's not the same as cooked chocolate, but if you're sensitive, then using more carob can be really beneficial to you because it's so gentle. It's so gentle and sweet. It's not even in the same family as cacao. And it tastes slightly sweet, as I mentioned. It's really delicious. So a cup of carob, 1/4 cup of cacao powder. And cacao and carob blend together really well nutritionally because cacao is high in magnesium and carob, raw carob, is high in calcium. And when you take the two together, it's easier for your body to uptake the calcium and the magnesium from both than if you had just one. And again, raw carob powder. Do not get the roasted carob powder from the grocery store. It has a totally different effect, totally different taste. Raw carob powder does not have the weird aftertaste that roasted carob powder has, and it has a slightly sweet flavor to it. It balances the cacao really nicely. And a 1/4 cup of mesquite. And mesquite blends really well with cacao and carob as well. It has a nice cinnamony chai kind of flavor to it. You can see it's real light and fluffy like a flower. Some people actually use it as a flower replacement, and it's very highly mineralized. Mesquite is a tree that grows actually commonly in Texas and in desert regions, and it's really thorny and it gets these really long bean pods. We even harvested them a couple times when we were in Texas, so we were lucky enough to get to them before the bugs got there. But the bean, inside of the bean, has this really amazing flavor, and because the plant grows in these really desert conditions, it's designed to uptake as many nutrients as it can from the environment and store those nutrients in the bean pod. And so you're getting all of those nutrients, all those mineralizing nutrients when you eat mesquite flour or mesquite powder. So we've got mesquite in there, and then we're going to superfood upgrade it even more by adding a cup of hemp seeds. So this gives us additional protein and balanced omega-6 and omega-3 essential fatty acids. Here's a cup. And we're going to do a 1/4 cup of bee pollen. And this gives a nice little crunch, not too much, just enough. Here's my quarter cup. Bee pollen is high in B vitamins and lecithin, which is really great for your brain and gives you lots of energy as well. Hemp seeds and bee pollen together, great combo. Bee pollen also helps to build and balance your hormones. So if you're having any kind of hormone issues going on at all, any kind, more bee pollen and more maca, the two of those together, really help to balance and build your hormones naturally. Whatever your body needs in terms of hormones, these are hormone precursors that help your body to build exactly what hormones are needed. Right, I've got some nuts I'll throw in a moment, and the vanilla. Oh, cannot forget the ground vanilla. Oh my gosh. I think I said this before, but like almost all of our treats use this ground vanilla, and do not use vanilla extract. If I have a recipe that says vanilla extract, ignore me. That was before I found ground vanilla. Oh my God, it's heavenly. And it tastes so different. Vanilla extract is made with alcohol. You can make your own and it'll taste a little better than a lot of things you'll find in the store. I just can't stop smelling it. And it does give a much more balanced flavor to your chocolates and to your treats when you use the real thing. If you don't want to get ground vanilla powder, go to the store and get vanilla beans, cut them open, scrape out the insides. That's essentially what this is without all of the work, thank goodness. So I'm going to put in a full tablespoon of ground vanilla in here and mix that together. Oh my gosh, that's going to be good. So here comes my Brazil nut and date dough. I'm just going to mix that in. And if you're the kind of person who likes to play with your hands, now is a good time to play, to mash this together like you're kneading dough. And if you're not that kind of person, you can use a spoon, but it's just not nearly as fun. So I'm going to roll up my sleeves and really get in here and mix it up good. The other advantage of using your hands is you can make sure that all these powders are really well mixed into the dough. You don't want spots of your brownies to taste just like Brazil nut and dates, even though that tastes good. You want it to taste like chocolate. And you want all of these powders mixed in really good, and there's nothing quite like a little hand massaging, a little added love to really make the best brownies ever. Oh my gosh, so good. You can see it's starting to look like brownie dough. It's got that chocolatey chocolate coloring. And just scoop it around. And as I squeeze too, like the oil from the Brazil nuts and the dates is coming out more, so it helps the whole thing to just stick together that much more as the powders are getting mixed in. And it's okay if it seems a little crumbly because you're going to press it into a pan to really solidify it. So I wish you could smell this. Oh my gosh. This smells so amazing. You can see it's really clumping together really nicely. You could, you know, if you wanted to, you could make little brownie balls out of this. Never thought of trying that. I always just press it into a pan and make, brownie squares. Anyway, now I'm going to add some walnuts in because I like nuts in my brownies. If you don't, skip this step. Here's my little handy nut chopper. I just put nuts in the top. Oops. I load them in the top here, put the cover on, turn, and I'm putting in, these are walnuts. You use any kind of nut you like. Use pecans or almonds or filberts, hazelnuts. Filberts and hazelnuts are the same thing. And once you've made this once and you know you like it, I'd also suggest that you play with adding some greens in, which I'm going to do today. I'm just going to add in a little bit of vitamin green because the more greens in your diet, the more alkalized your diet is, good vegan source of protein you're getting, more minerals, it's all good. So I'm going to put in about a tablespoon of vitamin green, and I bet you my family won't even notice. I'll report back and let you know. As long as they don't see this video before they eat it, they'll never know. You feel so sneaky. The chocolate especially is a great disguiser because it's so dark you don't really see the green. gosh, as I'm mixing this in, you won't even know it's there. And the strong flavor of chocolate hides the taste of the greens. So as long as you don't put too much in, nobody will know. The only time they know is actually with the Chocolate Bliss. If you put buttermilk green in that, even if you put in the smallest amount, as the Chocolate Bliss settles in the fridge, you'll see a little green layer. So they'll know. They'll know it's there. As long as you shake it before you give it to them, they won't know. But I'm going to pour my brownie mix into the pan. Oh, I found some powders there at the bottom that didn't get mixed, but that's okay because it's all going to get pressed in now. Just mash those bits in. They're a little bit powdery on top. And then, oh, come here, mix in. And now it's spread pretty evenly throughout the pan, so I'm just going to press down. Press it into place. I'm trying to make it somewhat level and even on top. It may seem like it's going to be pretty crumbly, but if you let this sit for a little bit, and put it in the fridge and sit for a little bit, it'll actually solidify pretty well so that you can cut it like you would a brownie. It may, with the hemp seeds and the bee pollen in there, maybe a little bit more crumbly than your typical brownie, but not too much. And if you don't want any crumbles at all, maybe because you're traveling or something, you could add a little bit of melted coconut oil to this, and that will definitely hold all the bits together. But you'll see. I'll show you a piece later after it's sat for a little bit, and it'll be nice and solid. All right. See, look at that. Here's my pan of brownies. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's going in the fridge, and I'll show you a piece in a little bit. Hey, I'm back. I actually updated the brownie recipe. That last version was just a little too crumbly. So I added a half cup of coconut oil, melted, mixed into the batter, and then refrigerated it, and I think it came out a lot better. I'll show you. It's a little bit harder to cut, especially when it's coming right out of the fridge, but it's not impossible, and especially since it's brownies after all. I mean, nothing gonna hold you back from that. And I'll just pull a little square out here, and you can see it comes out a perfectly solid piece. Last bit, because the hemp seeds and the bee pollen are so dry and crumbly, we're having a lot of crumbles come off. So the coconut oil really holds it together as a nice shape, so you can actually like lift it up and eat it without it bursting all over your place on you, and should be easier to travel with too. So there you have it, raw brownies, the best brownies ever with a little coconut oil added in, and now we're good to go. Enjoy!